Picture this. You bought the standing desk. You stood for 8 solid hours today, patting yourself on the back like an absolute hero of modern health. But then you went home, collapsed onto the couch, and doom-scrolled on your phone until your brain went completely, utterly numb.
Which forces a pretty blunt question. Did the standing desk even matter? Did optimizing your physical posture, while simultaneously letting your mind just rot, actually achieve anything for your health?
Well, here comes the gut punch. A massive study tracking over 1,700 people for more than 20 years just proved that not all sitting is created equal.
It turns out passive screen sitting actively shrank key brain regions, while mentally active desk sitting actually protected them. The killer wasn't the chair, it's what your brain was doing while you were in it. This is Mind Spectrum, and research in Alzheimer's and dementia found that what your brain is doing while you sit matters more than the fact that you're sitting.
Part 1. One habit, two brains. Back in the late 1980s, researchers tracked 1,700 adults on two basic metrics: how often they watched TV and how often they sat at work. Decades later, they brought them all back for advanced brain MRIs.
The results split the act of sitting right down the middle. On one side, you had passive TV sitters who literally lost brain volume, specifically in early Alzheimer's regions like the hippocampus. But on the flip side, the active desk sitters, the ones spending their days reading, thinking, and planning, they maintained their cortical volume. They protected their brains. Same exact posture, completely opposite brains.
Part 2. Starving the wiring. So why on earth does this happen? Let's look at the biology of why idle sitting physically damages your brain's communication network.
The massive clue here is something called white matter hyperintensities. No medical jargon today, I promise. These are simply bright spots on an MRI that signal damaged wiring, blood vessel disease, and poor blood flow. Passive watchers had significantly more of these dead zones, meaning passive sitting doesn't just mean you're relaxing, it actively correlates with real vascular damage.
Think of your brain like a building's electrical grid. Idle sitting leaves the circuits off for years, so the wiring naturally decays. But active sitting, like reading or critical thinking, puts a healthy load on the system. The infrastructure stays maintained. You're building cognitive armor just by keeping the lights on.
And here is the absolute most brutal detail of this entire study. You can go run 5 miles, crush a gym session, and feel incredibly superior. But if you spend the rest of the evening passively scrolling on the couch, your brain is still quietly billing you for the damage. Exercise does not fully cancel the passive TV cost.
Part 3.
The Skeptic's Corner. I know what you're typing right now, so let's rapid-fire the caveats.
Yes, it's an observational study showing correlation, not absolute causation. Yes, the negative brain links were mostly seen in men, likely because women historically interrupted TV time with small household tasks. And yes, the baseline data from the 80s was self-reported from memory, but the biological direction here is undeniable.
Which brings us to Part 4. Fix mode, not posture. It's time to completely overhaul our concept of what constitutes healthy downtime.
That whole sitting is the new smoking panic. It aimed at the wrong target entirely. The variable is cognitive engagement, not movement. A mentally active desk job might actually be saving your brain. We obsess over step counters and standing desks to optimize our bodies, but we leave our brain's downtime completely on autopilot. We measure every single step, but never measure whether our rest is building us up or quietly costing us our cognitive health. So which meter have you been watching?
You don't need to stand 24/7, but you do need to stop treating all seated hours as one thing. Ditch the passive doom scrolling and pick up an audiobook, a puzzle, or a focused hobby instead of just staring at a screen. Same couch, totally different brain bill.
The variable is cognitive engagement, not movement. Exercise didn't fully cancel the passive TV cost. Upgrade your downtime from passive to active. If this changed how you relax, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what's your go-to rest that's actually passive? I'll see you in the next experiment.